But a 36-hour limited window for a closed beta is probably the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard, and that's the dumbest fucking beta that's ever been held. Urban Style Individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And there's an old saying, misery loves company. And that cannot be more true than for somebody like a darksydephil, because it's not enough for him to be miserable. You must also be miserable too. He's upset that people got to play video games while he was stuck with his horse all day. So let's get into it.
Yesterday was my wife's birthday. I spent the entire day with her. We were out and about doing a million different things. We went to one of her favorite restaurants and got a nice, delicious dinner. Had some wine together at the end of the night. So it was a nice day for me. For other people, it was Tokon Day.
Now, did you peep the tone shift? Not only in how he was saying things, but also his body language. Look at his face. He's very upset that he was not able to play the game all damn day and he was stuck with his wife, because as much as he would like to talk about he wants to be a family man and he is a family man, we know that he's ashamed of Cat. And he would much rather be in his room begging for money playing a fighting game than being seen around town with his horse.
Huh? Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a new fighting game coming out next year, and it's from ArcSys, the people who had made Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear, and BlazBlue. It had a beta yesterday only. It was a closed beta only for 36 hours. It started 9 p.m. on Friday night and ended this morning at 8 a.m. Okay? Well,
and I must say, the content creators out there in the fighting game spaces that we respect, they covered the game at length. You got guys out there doing character breakdowns, combo routes, mechanic videos, all that stuff. A space that DSP should be in had he played his cards right when it came to this YouTube thing, but he didn't. And he's very envious of people like Maximilian Dude and Justin Wong, how they can come on and just give their opinions on these new fighting games and the numbers go crazy because people actually respect them.
Well, should I talk about this now? Why not? I was in it because I registered for it like weeks ago. They had announced, registrations for this beta. So I'd signed up for it. But when I did, you had to do it through this weird link. Usually, if you want to sign up for a beta, you would go to like a website and fill out a web form saying, your name, your preferred platform, if you have like a YouTube channel, all that stuff. This had none of that. This was click here, log into your PlayStation Network account, which of course I have a long-standing PSN account, put in your details, and that's it.
Yeah, because the beta was not a special case for just content creators, Phil. That's why they didn't ask you what type of YouTube channel you had, or if you were. They didn't care about that. They were just trying to get it out to a good amount of people to have a decent enough sample size. So when feedback came in, they can actionize on the feedback that they received. It doesn't make sense to only get feedback from a small pool of people at the very top. You want to hear things from people of various knowledge bases about this thing, people from various perspectives, so you get a holistic understanding of what's going on. So when you go back to the drawing board and it's time to put the game out, you'll know what to prioritize. It's not that deep.
I didn't get an email saying confirm that you're registered for it. We'll let you know. Nothing. It just. So I had no idea that the beta was even going to happen or that I was going to get into it. I was streaming on Friday night, my Friday Night Fight stream. They emailed me to tell me that I was in the Tokon Beta while it was already live.
So you don't have enough sense to think, because you're in this YouTube space and pseudo or sort of in the FGC space, right? So we know he's aware of when fighting games are coming out and what's going on in those worlds. So he's going to act as if he wants to feign ignorance, because this is the only way he has a point, is if he feigns ignorance, right? He's so oblivious to everything going on. He's so focused on the streams that he had no idea. So when Max was playing it and his videos was going crazy and Justin Wong and everybody else was doing combo breakdown videos all over YouTube, that wasn't a big enough yellow tape for him to understand that, hey, maybe I should check and see if I can play the game.
That sounds like good timing, doesn't it? like tell someone in the midst of a very limited timed beta that you're in the beta? Why not tell me like 3 days early so I can plan for it? No, tell me while the beta is going on. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because I was going to spend time with my wife for her birthday. I don't give a crap about the Marvel Tokon Beta. My wife's way more important to me than this random ass fighting game.
So if that's the case, then what is this about? What is this about? This once again sounds like you think people should be tailoring their business around your stupid ass YouTube schedule. It's about 5 people on earth that care about your schedule. You and your 4 dents. That's it. All right. A beta is an opportunity. That's it. It's not an obligation. They don't owe you anything. Either you're in or you're out. And it is what it is. If you really was serious about playing it, and it seems as if you were, this is why you're salty, then you should have had your eyes open and your ears open when things were going on. But you didn't. And that's your fault.
But a 36-hour limited window for a closed beta is probably the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. And that's the dumbest fucking beta that's ever been held. I have never in my life heard of a beta that you have to give up an entire day of your life, no matter what, no chance to get into it later. Fuck you, play it or just skip it and miss out. Huh? So I can't have a life?
So you're telling me in all the time you've been on YouTube, you never heard about a beta having a window? That's the very nature of betas. Like what is this guy complaining about? Talking about you can't have a life. Nobody's concerned with darksydephil. I guarantee you when they made this game, nobody was thinking about you or your schedule. All right. They were thinking about how can we make a game that appeals to people who are hardcore fighting games, but has enough of a floor or the floor is low enough so entry level people can still get in and have their fun as well. It's about appeal, not DSP.
I can't, actually have like responsibilities or a schedule. You're just you're going to send me an email during the beta, so I couldn't even prepare for it. And you expect me to now just change everything in my life for your fighting game. How about this? No, I'm not going to do that. My life is more important to me than your fighting game. If you actually want me to care, you should actually tell me ahead of time. You should actually allow me to plan. You should actually respect my time as a gamer and not try to act like you're more important than me, because you're not. Sorry, Marvel Tokon. Anyway.
So if your job is a content creator, right, and you lean primarily towards fighting games, because if Phil had to pick a genre of interest or his favorite, he would pick fighting games, right? So you would think if he was using his brain, this would be something that he would prioritize. You think Max didn't have other things scheduled and going on? You didn't think Justin and all these other guys in this space had other things going on? But they knew that this was noteworthy enough to turn from their regularly scheduled programming to respond to this. It was that big. You're the only one that doesn't understand how this space works. And it's ironic because you've been in it some of the longest times of anybody. This is basic stuff. If something noteworthy happens, people are going to respond to it. And in turn, they're going to want to go to the people that they respect in those spaces to hear what they have to say about it. Unfortunately for you, Phil, you're not one of those people.
So I had a great day, and the entire fighting game community dropped everything to play it. I'm serious. They did. Like, oh, well, because this is all we do. All our eggs are in one basket. So we've got to drop our lives and change all our schedules around because we got into this beta. So they did. And they played it in the 36 hours. And I saw quite a few people play it, including, what's that guy? Diaphone, the guy who had actually made a video regarding my Street Fighter 6 play early on during the run of Street Fighter 6 2 years ago. He actually won a tournament in Tampa, Florida, which is kind of cool. He won basically the first tournament for the game. Throwbacks to back when new releases would come out. Like, remember when Super Street Fighter 4 came out and I entered a midnight tournament for it at a game store and I won with DJ? It's kind of cool to see people, day one be hype. I saw Justin Wong play. I saw Nerd Josh play. I saw Sonic Fox play. Okay.
So you knew that the game was live then. What else would you have them do? Come send a representative directly for you and have them come knock on your door? Would you like them to send you a personal email because we know that's how you do your business correspondence? Would you like them to pull up to your house in act as if they're DoorDash or Uber Eats. That way you be more receptive to their messaging because we know you'll respond to that. I don't know what else you would have them do. You act as if you are some ligament of theirs or you are some employee of theirs and they owe you this or something. But that's where your entitlement comes in. Nobody owes you anything, dude.
So, just watching a few different videos, here's my impressions. Okay? It's definitely the kind of game that's going to get hype. It's big, flashy combos, big explosions, giant damage. Okay? It's what people like to watch. I'm just going to emphasize that. It's what people like to watch. But this really harkens back to me to the days of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and or even Dragon Ball FighterZ, where it seems like if you can get one hit in, you can capitalize and get an insane combo. I actually saw someone with Ms. Marvel get like an 80% combo that was like dash up 3 attacks into a assist that created almost like a wall bounce state. Then she did another 3 attacks into a super. It was 80% damage.
So what? But how many people are actually going to be able to do that? Phil acts as if just because information and knowledge is available, that people can practically apply it. Dude, they've been libraries since I've been born, full of information. People are walking around with cell phones, which are essentially the Library of Alexandria in your phone, and people are still stupid. So just because the information is available does not mean that people can actually actionize the information. Moreover, some people are casual type fighting game players like myself. I don't get too heavy into it, but there are some things about them that I enjoy. But sometimes just because I respect the people who understand the mechanics and actually know how to do things, I just like watching high level play sometimes, right? And he's not considering that portion as well. And on top of that, when you look at a platform like a YouTube, YouTube is constantly pushing the exception to you. So when you look at the recommended page with all these videos with all these thousands of views and stuff, that's less than 10% of the YouTube population. Everybody else got videos under 1,000 views, and you can look those things up, right? But once again, it just shows how much Phil does not understand.
What the fuck? It's supposed to be a fighting game. Why are you losing 80% of your character to one simple combo? It wasn't even like, oh, a counter hit combo. You know, no, it was a simple combo. Like, assist, super. 80% damage. In addition, some of the stuff that I've seen, the game looks a little bit more slow than I would have expected. Like, you know, recently we had the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. And so everyone was playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The game looks slower than MVC 2. The game kind of looks like it's meant for online play, meaning they built it for rollback netcode. So what does that mean? It means there's going to be pattern play. It means there's going to be simpleton gameplay, easy input, everything easy to execute, nothing tough to do. It just looks like it's a baby's own game. I'm sorry, it looks like it's made for play schoolers. Now,
That's why I said this dude is miserable. Because how can you deduce that from something that you did not even play? This dude is already applying the things that he says about existing fighting games to a fighting game that he's never even touched. Pattern play, simple mechanics. How do you know? Because based on what I've seen, right? And I haven't played it either, but based on what I've seen, it's actually mechanic heavy. Okay, there's multiple layers to the gameplay. So it's once again Phil complaining about the stuff that he is, because when you watch his Street Fighter gameplay or even his SNK Capcom Fighter Game Collection gameplay, Phil is very much a pattern player. He is. And he does the same thing over and over again, and people lab and learn him, and then he don't know what to do anymore because he only has 1 or 2 go-tos. His bag is not that deep. It's just crazy to hear this guy complaining about something that he never even touched before, dude. And you wonder why people in the FGC don't take you seriously, man, at all. You won't even go about the business of trying to form an opinion based on something. You just gonna run your damn mouth.
now it looks hype, meaning there's going to be big flashy combos. People are going to want to see the superheroes beat the crap out of each other. But it doesn't, to me, look like a competitive fighting game that's going to be like something from you know, the yesteryear where there was actually challenge and skill involved. It's just going to be online pattern play again. That's what it looks like to me. Now, again, this is one day of people playing it. They already figured out 80% damage combos, ridiculous strings. Like, basically what it looks like to me is Dragon Ball Fighters with a skin and with some different mechanics when it comes to the assists. Okay, because there's the stage transitions. A lot of people are very critical of these stage transitions, saying they don't really like them. And that they're basically kind of jarring to the game. Some people are saying the animations are too long, like super animations take forever. And again, it seems like that's because for a crowd, you want the crowd to react when something like that. Again, it's
Okay, so it's obvious that you're paying attention to what the internet is saying. Did you grab any of the positive things that people were saying about the game? Don't you think it's funny that the only thing he latched onto was the negative things? I mean, it's not funny. We know how Phil gets down, though. I just think it's ironic that he never even went about the business of trying to find anything positive to say. He went into it with a negative perspective before he even saw it, because he was already pissed off because he felt like that they slighted him on the damn email. So it was war from that point forward, because you know how Phil is. At this point, he's done with them unless they officially apologize to him in public. Because you know Phil has this apology fetish because he feels like everyone else is beneath him, right? And nobody can learn. He can't learn anything from anyone else, but everybody should be able to learn from him. It's ridiculous.
seems like this is a crowd pleaser game. This is a game that may have been made, that it's a stream hype game, that when you're streaming it or you're playing it in a tournament, everyone's excited. But when you actually play it, it's just not that good. Again, I harken back to MVC3, where at first I was hyped for it, and then within that first year of playing it, I just hated it. Like, dude, I don't want a game where every time I get hit, I lose an entire character, or I activate X Factor and now I kill your entire character. I thought that was awful for competitive play. So it's rough, man. It's rough for me. I mean, if I was a modern FGC player and all I knew were modern fighting games like Marvel and Dragon Ball and Street Fighter 5 and 6, I'd probably be like, oh, I'm so hyped. But I've played better games.
Look at him. He's so miserable. He's such a hater. He hates the fact that none of these kids walking around now that's coming up, or some of the OGs in the FGC, nobody pays him reverence. Nobody reveres him. Nobody respects him. Nobody even mentions him. You don't even exist, Phil. You're not even a meme in the FGC. They act as if you are not even alive. And that burns him up. It really does, because Phil really believes that he is this wealth of fighting game knowledge, and that's one venues in his life that he feels he could be useful. But it's so much other bullshit that comes with that nobody wants it.
I just played Marvel 2 in the Marvel 2 collection. That to me looks like a better game. But these are not the opinions you will hear from the fighting game community. I just want to make this abundantly clear. There are people out there who agree with me on stuff like this, but you'll never hear people in the fighting game community talk about it. Why? Well, let's see. I got into the Marvel Tokon Beta and I streamed it, and I had record high viewer numbers. Everyone was supporting my stream, and I made a whole ton of bucket load of fucking money, right? So obviously I'm not going to criticize the game. I'm going to say it's the best fighting game ever.
And that's what he's mad about. Phil cannot stand anybody who is doing better than him or making more money than him, especially if he feels that they are in his same lane, gaming or fighting games. He cannot stand it. You're such a miserable person, and that's why you will always be in misery, Phil. Right? The universe has a way of balancing things out. That's why it's isolated you into this little bubble, because you being around other people only intoxicate people. It only makes them worse. So it makes sense to isolate you, so only you can affect yourself, man. Because this is largely a nothing burger. You're upset that people got to do something that you did, that you wanted to do, but instead you were stuck playing family man with your wife that you do not like. That's really what you're mad about. And then you went about saying you don't know what was going on, and you people are agreeing with you. Well, that means you did watch videos then, right? You did watch videos then, but you could not pull any of the positive things that people are saying. And there's a lot of positive stuff out there about this game.
So that I can make money. And that's a big difference between back in the day and today. Because back in the day, there was no money to be made. I'll say that again. Back in the day, there was no money to be made. If you were a competitive fighting game player, you did it for the love of the game. You did it because you enjoyed the games, not because you were going to make a bucket load of money streaming the game. Okay?
Well, you say you're passionate about games. So then why don't you come on here once a month and stream for no money? Don't mention money, none of that, right? Because that's what you're levying against them. You're telling them that they are not passionate about it because they're making money doing it, which nothing could be further from the truth. Listen to professional athletes. They'll tell you how passionate they are about what they do. How else do you think they got there? But they also want to make the money, and there's nothing wrong with that. Your problem is you lack the passion. So you can't see how somebody can be doing it for passion and for money. Like, oh, it's just money, because that's how you would approach it. You can't tell me these guys are crying on stage when they lose and acting the way they act if they're not passionate or they don't care about what they're doing. The amount of hours that goes into being good at these games, labbing these characters, learning matchups. That's passion, Phil. And they're not throwing their hands up complaining about game mechanics that they do not understand. They're sitting there and they're trying to figure it out so they can compete on the highest level. Something you never wanted to do, because soon as something they started adding more mechanics to the games, you started to digress more and more and more. That's why you always harken back to Street Fighter 2, right? And that's a classic. I got nothing against Street Fighter 2, but it is a very simple game in comparison to the modern fighting games. It just is.
Get it? So because of that, the entire FGC is kissing this game's ass, even though me watching, I'm like, it doesn't look that good. Again, it really strongly reminds me of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I didn't like. So here we are over a decade later, and it looks like it's a different company releasing a very similar game. And because we haven't had Marvel in a while, it's probably going to do well. I would bet it might even be the biggest fighting game of next year. I'm going to go on record, and I'm going to say it early. I think that Marvel Tokon will likely be the biggest fighting game of 2026. It's going to beat the Invincible game. It's going to beat that 2XKO joke of a game. It's going to beat everything. Even Street Fighter 6, I feel like it might surpass Street Fighter 6. Why? Because it's Marvel characters and because it has a hype-looking gameplay that when you stream it or you play it in tournament, it's flashy.
One takeaway from the people that I watch play the game, one thing they kept saying is the game is fun. That's all I kept hearing. Even if they had legitimate criticisms of the game, they said it was fun. So at the game's core, it sounds as if they have that figured out, because ultimately that's why we play games, right? It's to have fun. It's a pastime. So everything outside of it being fun is just icing on the cake. And that's the beautiful things about having multi-layered mechanics. You can engage with them or you can choose not to. But Phil is projecting his simpleton mind onto other people by acting as if this game is going to appeal to people who are, mentally slow or not as mentally astute as he is. When the truth is, he can't hang anymore because he don't understand the mechanics. And we see that in Street Fighter 6 and we've seen that in Mortal Kombat.
That doesn't mean that it's going to be amazing. All right. But that you won't hear that from the FGC for the most part. I am overgeneralizing. But if you see these people that are absolutely freaking out about the game, it's like, so what exactly is great about the game? Can you explain in detail what is so amazing about this game? Well, I'll tell you what's amazing about the game. You had a great amount of viewers and you made a lot of money. That's what was great about the game. It doesn't look that good to me. And again, I'm not the only one. It's just the people who have this mentality are old school players who have played better, but they're not prominent in the modern FGC. You know what I'm saying?
Well, nobody's going to write you a 5-paragraph essay on why they feel a fighting game is good or worthy to be played. Nobody's asking for your acceptance or your stamp on the game at all. Nobody cares about what you have to say on this topic and really on any topic. It doesn't matter. It's just sad that you can't recognize that you are no longer in the limelight, that your time has passed, even if you were still doing well at this point in your career. Even somebody like Maximilian Dude or other people who are in that space, you can tell that they've moved aside and they're more in the OG role looking after the young cats, giving them the game, and sharing tech with each other and bridging generational gaps, because ultimately that's what it's about. Because the key word in fighting game community is community, Phil. But we know you struggle with human interaction, so you don't understand that. You can't possibly fathom that people are happy, or that people are excited and looking forward to something, that people can't wait to congregate with their friends and share tech and even break bread and fellowship with one another when they're not playing the game. That's really what you're miserable about, because I don't care what he says. You can't tell me when he has his quiet moments to himself, when he's on the toilet taking his shit, when he's taking the shower, that he does not sit there and ponder to himself how he royally screwed over almost all of his relationships. And so now he's pigeonholed into this position where he has to be a shock clown. Every now and then he'll say something crazy with the hopes that every now and then it'll go viral, and hopefully that'll be enough to rally a few whales to his cause. This whole thing is pathetic, dude. The fact that you really thought it was a good idea to come on here and complain about everybody else is happy but me, because that's really what you're saying. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.